So you might have heard this term objects because in programming language this is very common. And we have also discussed about data types. In that time we discussed that we got primitive data types and we have one data type which is called reference type, and that data type name is object. Primitives, they have the nature that they can only hold simple value, one single value. That's a primitive. Whereas in contrast, objects are going to hold a like collection. They basically hold keyed collections, which means you can think of like an object is like, you know, uh, you are able to store multiple values, more than one values. Yeah. So the way object is formed, it is like formed like a key value pair. An object is a reference type because whatever the variable you use will actually not hold the you know all the key value pairs. It instead it holds you know holds the memory location where this object is created. In simple, object is nothing but it's a collection. It's collection of key value pair. It holds multiple value, unlike primitive. And here they've given okay how to create an object or this there are two syntaxes actually. Yeah. So in JavaScript we got two syntax to create an object. So one is called using constructor. Yeah, the first method is called constructor syntax, which means we are using an object. Okay, there is a super constructor called object, so we can use this to create an object, and this created an empty object. Also possible, let's say I would like to create an object, I can use directly a literal syntax, meaning I'm directly just putting this is an object without even using constructor. What are these two syntax? Different ways to create objects in JavaScript. I told you objects, basically they are collection. Now where do I see that collection? I can include, yeah, I can include multiple values by putting key and a value. By putting again a key and a value. And in terms of the syntax, this is a very common syntax, meaning directly using flower braces instead of using new and all that. So we can directly create name is John, and then it's a comma separated, age, let's say 30. This is how we create an object. This is how an object holds, yeah, the object variable holds the reference of all these values in the memory. Using a single name, I can actually be able to refer to these values. Yeah. So the syntax is key followed by value. Key followed by value. Since this is a string, I'm putting it as a string. This is a number, and I mean that's how I would like to store it. That's why I'm putting number. And here name is called property and this is called value. Age is a property and this is a value. They've given how it is stored. Okay. So we saw syntax. There are two syntax. One is using constructor, another using object literal syntax. And literal syntax is very frequent. So now we created an object, fine. But then how do I access the property? How do I read the properties actually? See, I can say user.age I think I created person, so I should call person dot age, person dot name. This is a way to read, you know, values from the property. And can I update it? Can I add a new property to this? Answer is yes. So if person object is already there and I would like to put another property called isAdmin and true, yes, I can add. So this is a way to include property on an existing object. So to access property, so we use what is called as dot notation. The object name dot the property name. You want to create a new property, object name dot, we give the new property name along with the value. Now if I check what is there in the person, I'm going to easily get what is there in the as an object. So we have got three properties now. So in simple, this is how we actually work with the JavaScript object. And in JavaScript, objects are used heavily. They are, when we in fact say everything is an object in JavaScript, that's what we say. Though so far we have learned only primitives. Objects are a very important concepts. We have to understand. Yeah, and again it is one of the type, one of the data type. Objects are also called as one of the data type. So in this chapter, I think we mainly understand about the different syntaxes in terms of listing the properties, adding a property, and that property again can be an object. You know what I'm saying? It need not have to be a simple value. Yes, it can be primitive, that can be a nested object as well. And we understand what are the syntax like, okay? You see there is a multi-word key I have to use. Can I use, something like uh, reserve words as a key? Also, there is something called, there is another notation called square bracket notation. Yeah, also called as array notation. So for example, if I have created an object, now I can access age using array of age. Not there. Person of age, this is another notation. So they're saying one of the use case of this bracket notation, or when it is really necessary, is, for example, if I use a key which is multi-word, how do I create? Yeah, I say, if at all I want to create that property, first of all, person, okay, hello world, okay, and then I say, hi, this is what I would like to store in the object. Why did I use first of all this bracket notation? Because object keys, I cannot type the multi-word here with space. This is not a valid syntax. So I'll have to use, in this case, even single bracket like this for creating a property. Or there is another syntax which is called this square bracket syntax. It's also called as array notation. Yeah. So apart from this, we can use this array notation even for all the properties, even if they are not, you know, multi-word. You see. So properties can be accessed using both dot notation and square bracket notation. Okay. So I mean, I think there is a concept like more to it, but with this, I think I'm just trying to give you an introduction to what is object. In the next class, I think we'll understand more on the object methods. Yeah, some more things with respect to objects. So we have got, I was going through what is called objects. So you'll understand what is the referencing and copying, very important topic. A little bit about what is garbage collection and why it is so. And then we'll understand object methods, some of the methods that we have, some of the built-in functions. Yeah, that's called methods basically. And then there's a special constant called this. So yeah, a bit about optional chaining, or maybe we will skip this. So far, okay, till here we covered each and every topic because they are fundamentals, they are required. And here onwards, it again depends. Okay, so I am trying to make sure, okay, you understand the basics first and basics right. Yeah, rather than me telling everything in the syntax and from the other end you start reeling one by one. No, that should not happen. So these are some of the, I will leave some of the topics. Yeah, I leave some of the topics for now because they're not, that essential to start with, or they are not that frequently used also. But they are part of the language. You will come across, you will use it also. But you can hold on for all these concepts for now. So, so in objects, I am not going to cover everything. Data types, yes, maybe here again this is data types and we kind of deal with most of the data types. Yes, I think here I'll cover few of the concepts or maybe most of the concepts. I'd say. Yeah, and I am telling you, I am covering you these concepts not just for some syllabus, guys. Each and every example, everything which is there here, you guys should actually type, execute, practice. Okay, so I think soon we will understand only the required concepts from all this. For example, it could be error handling. Next thing I think I will discuss about what is error handling after data types. Yeah, I will skip I think some of these concepts like advanced working with function, the property configuration is not required, inheritance is also not required. Classes, yes, we can kind of avoid for now. I will talk about what is error handling, promises, then I'll give you an introduction to what are modules, we use them, then give you kind of an idea on browser, document and events and so on. Fine. So I'll make sure whatever is required for next level learning is being covered. Yeah. And if you still want to know some of this topic, I am here to help you guys and tell you what is that concept. But the only thing which I'm expecting from you guys is to practice and you come back and go through these chapters and practice. And simply giving by some excuses, telling me something. If you are not following along with me, if you are not putting effort to practice, no, please stop then. There's no point in attending simply class just for the sake of your personal uh, saying okay just for okay. So I've told okay I'll join. That's why I'm joining. Without this effort, it's going to be completely waste of time. And don't do that actually. That's what I'm seeing now already. I've asked you guys to do CSS. Now you're coming to JavaScript. I don't know. Now if I take up next React, you'll end up forgetting this also. Okay, that should not happen. Yeah, there are too many topics. No, don't worry. I'm not going to bore you with all this concept. Soon we have to get into hands-on, more hands-on than what we are seeing. There we should have HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Yeah, so I've covered the fundamentals now. I'm going to cover some more fundamentals as and when required. Yeah, and then I think soon I'm going to start with React. React is basically a library and a framework that we can use to develop, kind of full front-end web application. All right, so I think I'll stop here for now. Yeah. So feel free to ask if you have any questions.